Hey, yo, 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 what up, y'all? I'm back for another live. I'm doing this live a little earlier because just seems like me and Sunrise Hoodie wanted to kind of start off early for y'all. So let me get him on board right now. So let me not waste no time. All right, we are live and we up in the building, fam.
All right, thanks for having me. Yeah, I appreciate you being flexible. I actually thought that I my memory slipped and I thought it was tomorrow, and then I was like, all right, I got some time early on. Thankfully, you're flexible, so I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem anytime, fam. I kind of want to make a disclaimer to some of these people out here that when we say we talk about the Black Knight. Of course, there is. I found out there's a cartoon character called the Black Knight, but no, we're not talking about that guy. So
More metaphorical than that.
yeah, way more, way more. So let me make sure this is all good here. Okay, all the gist to doing all this stuff, man. You gotta love it. Uh, okay, cool. See some folk watching me already. That's good. Now, I guess more or less just to get to some of the talking points on this clash. Had any time to think about it per se, like what this clash would be like, or what led to the clash, or anything like that?
I just think the biggest thing is I see, especially for me when I make content, not that I'm claiming I'm a Black Knight, but I'm saying the red pill message is more of a Black Knight message. When you have people that disagree with it, it's usually people. It's usually people that think that you are not being truthful, and that you are either being too critical or cynical, and that you have a hidden agenda. And so I think you get the opposition that is it's like a shellfish in a bucket scenario where they're trying to pull you back down. I think that's where the biggest conflict is. So there's kind of a misunderstanding of where the Black Knight is coming from. I think creates a lot of the conflict.
I agree. And it mainly just that's what I think makes it so kind of cool with this idea of the Black Knight, because they don't know if the red pill message is coming from a Black Knight or is it coming from a monk. They don't know where it's coming from,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, yeah. I think people will assume that it's just coming from. I think the criticism is that it's like coming from a secretive incel.
see, yep.
Mm-hmm. And I think that people are like, I think this guy is actually not this way. There's no way he's this way. He's got to have a hidden agenda, or he's hurt, or anything. I think it's where the shaming lines come in, is where the opposition is.
Oh yeah, especially that hurt part. Oh man, and that's like really it just adds insult to injury. But nevertheless, it's just like one of these things that over time, I guess you just learn how to not let them see what injuries you have. I mean, it's obvious you've endured, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like uh as far as them trying to expose that, you just make it that much more difficult, even if the signs are there as to what hurted you. Like everybody's always nowadays trying to expose somebody these days. It's really crazy.
Yeah, I think everybody always is wanting to win an argument.
See?
There's always an argument that people are trying to win, and you only really need to win an argument, or feel like you need to win an argument, when you're insecure about something. So it's usually a telltale sign of their own problem if they're that way.
Wow, and that's major that you brought that up. This idea of always having to win, like in I've been exploring that in regards to I've been thinking about this idea of artificial societies, and it seems more or less in this world, everybody's just trying to win at something, even an argument, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's and if you don't want to partake in the argument, you get shamed for not wanting to partake in the argument. It's the Black Knight tries to evade conflict when he can afford to evade it, you know? And so that is the reason to avoid the conflict. And there's a misunderstanding that is the case, you know?
Right. Just the fact that you're avoiding it, or you probably know how to, like in my case, I like to say neutralize by, you might just stick with, like, you know, you get right to the point, whereas they want to just keep wanting to talk in circles, and that frustrates them too, I think.
Yeah, it's or you're speaking, you know, rational thought. You know, rational talk and rational thought is it makes people flappable. It makes people frustrated when you speak that way, or you're speaking logically, you're speaking with reason, and you're not trying to meet them at their level. Because the white knight mentality is a emotional mentality. You know, it's a very emotional mentality. The black knight mentality is a very cerebral mentality, calculated.
Yes. And that's why I feel taking a daily dose of the red pill is so important, so that you can always stay sharp with your cerebrals. So, I mean, it kind of goes back to like something you've mentioned in a lot of your videos, like certain repetition is good. It's very good. And I think like the Black Knight hones in on this idea of repetition.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just the opposition doesn't think that you. It doesn't think that somebody can operate in that way today. The white knight doesn't think that somebody can operate at that level, and they're always trying to get you to stoop to a lower level. And I mean, the black knight doesn't try to answer to. It doesn't want to answer to anybody. That's his main goal for operating. And you know, the white knight's goal is to get somebody, to save somebody. Essentially, that's their goal on a day to day. And the only people that are trying to save other people are people that are insecure too, which is part of this insecurity and within an argument or in a conflict between a black man and a white knight.
Yeah, and it's funny because you mentioned that saving part, and we always say the word cape. You know, they wore the cape, but it's funny. I think like with the white knights these days, they probably wearing biohazard suits these days. Man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you know, you don't need a cape, you know, but they want to have a cape. They want to do it to get recognition. You know, it's the end of the day. This is another reason you ghost too. You know, it's another reason you ghost.
And speaking of the biohazards, how many white knights we've seen take on a lot of these damsels with mental illnesses, and no pun intended, but it's like,
yeah,
you know, I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's there are so many. I mean, I have talked to countless people about that, and talked about the Jezebel earlier, but BPD and NPD, and how often cluster B personality, borderline personality is prevalent today. And you truly have to be a savior in order to deal with them. And it's impossible to deal with them, and it's exhausting. And it's so rampant today. And that's why there's so many white knights, is because the man wants to be a provider, and it puts him in this perilous position.
Facts. And the crazy thing is, it's like, because I've always said with the Black Knight, he has this take it or leave it philosophy. So it's like, okay, he see that damsel in distress, but, you know, I ain't got to deal with your BS, you know, when it's all said and done, you know, and he's just pretty much uncompromising because he already knows what's wrong. Like he sees what's wrong, even though she'll still try to argue otherwise. But it's like, look, I guess it's similar to like, I guess like with the paramedics, and they're trying to tell you the right instructions in order for you to stay alive, but you still have some people that don't want to listen to the paramedic or listen to the doctor. The doctor's telling you what you need to do, but you don't want to listen to what the doctor is telling you.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. And that's exactly what the white knight doesn't realize is happening a lot of times when he's dealing with a BPD woman.
Yes.
In particular, it's, you can't reason with crazy. And that's the number one thing that you need to remind yourself with a lot of the time. And that's like the Black Knight's MO. He sees that it's not going to work, and he doesn't reason with crazy. you know, and the white knight, being an instinctual provider, thinks that every man should be the same way, you know? And it's like, why aren't you trying to help these damsels in distress? Shouldn't you be giving your all over them too? If you're not, then you are a, you know, you are a wuss, you are a blue pill, you know? That's where the shaming comes back around, and it's just total gaslighting.
And it's funny you bring it up, because I think even more now than ever, you're going to see a lot of white knights stepping up to try to offer this veneer or facade of, you guys, this is how you're supposed to please women, and you haven't been doing it. I could see that happening soon.
It's already happening, you know. It's, you go on social media and you go on Twitter. I was just on Twitter the other day, and I saw on a thread, I think a guy was talking about being an employee and trying not to be an employee and trying to work for yourself and trying to get out of the rat race. How to have multiple streams of income, and a woman chimed in and said whatever, and said her argument, and said, hey, I don't see what the problem is working for a 9 to 5 and trying to build a trade, being successful in that way. And another guy came in and was like, you're not thinking I'm on my level. You need to have multiple forms of income and build that. And she came back with a rebuttal, but then you see the white knights come into the thread, and they're like, you're right, queen. Like, don't worry. Like, you're strong. Like, all that stuff. And it's just like, you know, that's hurting. You're hurting yourself there. You are doing nothing but harm yourself right now.
Man, let's keep building up to this clash, because this is how it started. Yes. Oh man, now
this is exactly what it is.
Now, check. Yeah. So I want to get into something, because I want you to keep that in mind. I know in our previous live we've mentioned about samurais, and I just kind of lightly looked up a few things. There's still more that could have been explored, but you know, more or less, I just found out more or less like a lot of the upcoming samurai, they were encouraged to marry while they were still young, so they could be fit parents. And like usually, like when they get married, it was really more or less a family business. So it's kind of like similar to like the royal lineage, because I don't think the samurais were considered royal, but they still were astute to their lords, as they called them in Japan. And I guess this was prior to them actually going about the ways of a samurai, which kind of ties in with what you said in the previous live stream, how they may not be able to interact with women once they get deep into the samurai culture.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's that they would encourage that. I think maybe at the time they thought that they should get married young and have children young in order to ensure that offspring were created prior to their commitment to defending Japan, defending the cities that they were in. So I don't know if it was like kind of a preservation of passing down their genes thing, or not. But I can see in that case, if a man says no to it, society criticizing it, because society is bent on preservation of numbers ultimately, and people don't realize that that's what it boils down to. That's why tribal situations where if a person was not carrying their own weight and was a liability and didn't add anything to the tribe, they were exiled. It's the same thing there.
Yes.
With the samurai, you know, if they're not giving back and producing a kid, that's a problem. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe. I'm just speculating.
Oh no, you're correct, because it brings up this point that a lot of people probably didn't know. Chances are that in many cases, the samurai was actually the Japanese version of the white knight.
Really?
Yes, because this brings up another thing. Now, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the movie called The Ronin. I think I don't know, it had a number, then Ronin. I think it started with Keanu Reeves. I think. But Ronin Ronin, in essence, this type of samurai called a Ronin samurai, or sometimes called the Daimyo, was more or less a samurai without a master, without a lord, without a rulership. He was on his own. So the Ronin would be, to me, equivalent to the Japanese version of a Black Knight.
And that's interesting. I think that rings a bell because I know Ronin Man is a MGTOW content producer, and I think he chose that name for that sake, for that reason.
Yes.
Yeah. Now that you say that, yeah, and that's interesting. I mean, it's what happens to the male in that situation when he has no ties to anything. And once again, we've talked about this. A lot of guys romanticize it because there's really no greater asset to the male psyche than kind of complete autonomy at times. And so that Ronin life, I think, always speaks to a lot of guys and kind of lingers there. Is something that they want to pursue. It's just choosing it and accepting that is the difficult thing, because no matter what, no matter who you are as the man, I mean, you still are thinking about your protection and mortality to some extent.
Yes.
You know, and there's a little bit less security when you are a Ronin. You're right. So.
Right. And I think what could be unique about the Ronin versus the Black Knight, I think because of his samurai lifestyle, that often, I think, kept him away from his family. So maybe him choosing to be a Ronin, he could still be solitary, but he probably still wanted to see how his kids were doing for some reason, or maybe see how the mother of his kids were doing, but he would still have to more or less resort to being a Ronin just to evade, just to be elusive of the masters or the lords that could be trying to look for him. But obviously with the red pill lens, you would hope that the mother of his kids doesn't snitch on him or set him up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's always that, even in ancient societies. You know, the Ronin doesn't have to deal with it, you know, or a Black Knight doesn't have to deal with that. But I don't know. I'd have to look into the Ronin reality a little bit more, and see how it compares. And the Asian societies, even today, that, you know, they are, the Western culture refers to as, you know, the origin of the monk too. I mean, obviously you have Gregorian, you know, monks, and Italian, you know, European monk, but quintessentially it's a Thai or a Chinese or a Laotian or, you know, an Asian thing. And as with the samurai and the Ronin, I think a lot of it has to do with the introspectiveness and the level-headedness of the culture there, and how it emphasizes personal responsibility too.
Right.
Yeah. So it'd be an interesting kind of dovetail for sure.
And I think even this idea of the, because I think like you know, monk is more of the I guess more of the, I don't know, when we say monks, more of the, I would say, you know, like Chinese, Tibetan, Nepalese. But I think like Japanese, they had the word sensei, which we've heard sensei at the Karate Kid. You know, karate is Japanese. So I have to, you know, like you said with the ducktailing, I have to look more into the sensei as well to see if that ties more in with the monk side of this red pill space, you know. Because their philosophies, it's just a lot of, like you said, a lot of these ancient truths that are being passed down, even as we're on this live stream. A lot of this is all connected, every bit of it.
Yeah, these things continue to affect modern culture. There are just so many things that we don't understand the origin of, and we don't understand why a thing is the way they are right now. And I think that's, in terms of a MGTOW red pill context, I think it would be good for there to be content on the historical origin of a lot of the reasons why men are the way they are now, and how they have maybe fallen away from where they were previously, especially when we're talking about white knights, because I mean that was not a part of culture,
right?
During the time of the samurai,
right? And the funny thing is, like, when you see even just this idea of the samurai, like, a lot of them had to fight ninjas, but ninjas at the time, they were part of a lower caste of Japanese society, but obviously if a man is a Ronin, he more than likely would befriend ninjas as long as they know that he's not the full samurai that he once was. So basically in our space, someone that was once a white knight and he decided to be black knight, well, then he can be cool with people that are like monks, MGTOWs, things like that,
Yeah, that's I've had so many different guys that I've been in touch with that have had usernames in reference to that, or avatar images that are ninja or a samurai like, which is interesting to me. I think there's kind of there's always kind of a lure to it,
Yes, but a lot of people don't even know like what we're even explaining, like the whole genesis and the backgrounds of some of these things, so it's kind of cool that's being put out there,
Yeah, it's these characters and archetypes continue on. I mean, this is the reason why they're so, there have been different similar characters or similar lines of people in other cultures, whether it's the Ottoman Empire, the Mayan Empire, those types of, those just Mongolian Empire.
Yeah.
That, have, a comparable person or character to a ninja or a samurai that haven't been passed on, that haven't been replicated as much in modern day culture or media.
Right.
But these two have. It's once again, they're very extreme in their life. They're very disciplined too.
Yeah.
I guess the Spartan is one that you could maybe bring and tie in and say it kind of relates in a way, because once again, a Spartan is a guy that's going his own way, and he is living a very sacrificial and regimented, disciplined life.
Yes. And of course, he wouldn't be one to lean towards the idea of hypergamy in these times. He'd slow him down.
He would be the polar opposite. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because a Spartan's reality is every day he has to confront his mortality. Like if every day of your life you're confronting your mortality and your safety and your health, you're not going to be thinking about being a white knight. That's going to prevent you from dealing with the Persian, enemies or the wildlife that you're dealing with.
Right.
It makes you a black knight in some ways alone.
Yeah, I mean, now let's get off into this clash, because oh man, I mean, yeah, like with the Spartans, they were going up against what, Greece at that time. So it's going to be inevitable. It's going to be inevitable that society presses down upon men that want to speak, and or they don't want to speak. They want to, like you said, just go their own way, and they just want to like be by themselves. Now, my thing is, the white knight is kind of similar, well, sort of in a similar vein of what you've been talking about. The white knight would probably say to the black knight, you just can't leave them all there to die. The black knight would probably reply like, only a few of them appreciate life. And those few, yeah, so you can see that dichotomy right there. So this makes, hopefully the white knight has pretty much a body armor suit similar to RoboCop, and it's got all the gadgets. Maybe he has somewhat of a lightsaber, and the Black Knight, he has limitless strength. So it's like he has the will within. He's almost looking at the White Knight like, good luck. Hope your God is on your side. You know?
Right. It's a great point, because I think that self-respect to say that, like, only a few value life to begin with, that is a level of self-respect and like understanding of your own self that allows you to let go of trying to be a savior in that situation, because the Black Knight mentality is built on reality. You know, it's built on, what's the reality? Does this person appreciate life? Does this person not appreciate life? Okay, if they don't, why am I giving my extra energy to them? Because even when I give energy to them, it's just going to be consumed and it's going to be no return on investment.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's all about that, in that life aspect. Like, does your life matter? If it matters, then I know that you're going to be sincere and you're going to be undivided attention, because that's really kind of what the Black Knight requires of anybody, especially in times of scorched earth. Undivided attention. Otherwise, he has a sword and he has just his callous of kind of like what you said prior, just this sort of indifference, more or less, like just the way he's stoic about things. He can easily just walk away and tell you to back off, you know.
It's important to grasp now, because, you know, especially during the pandemic and then going forward, not knowing the economic effects of it that are going to linger on, and job opportunities. I think a lot of guys are grasping the fact that they need to be more self-sufficient. And I think aware people, just people that think a little bit, get that they need to be more self-sufficient, and they might need to pack lighter and walk lighter, as the Black Knight does in times of trial. You know, he is removing as many distractions, and he doesn't want to have to rescue Snow White during those times, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she should be all ready to go. Kind of like, you know, Bonnie was ready to go with Clyde. She was just ready, you know? And, but yeah, it's just, I would think also the Black Knight would tell the White Knight, and those few will rise from the ashes and follow me. Thus, I think the Black Knight can be associated with phoenixes, you know, not just himself, but even those who choose to walk away from the scorched earth. You know, the phoenix, I think, could be more or less a symbol of, you know, whatever society, whether I was a samurai that became a Ronin, or a White Knight that resulted into being a Black Knight. I was kind of pushed out of society because I had an unpopular opinion. But don't count me out. You can't kick me while I'm down. And those who think that way, y'all can follow me. We gonna get through this, you know. But it's, I would say, yeah, only a few people that would grasp that. You know, only a few people.
Yeah, I mean, that's why if you bring this type of language up and you talk in public with people, it's very, very rare to feel like somebody's on your wavelength, you know. And so when you do find somebody, like I was at an appointment today. I was at an appointment, and I hadn't met with this particular physician before, this doctor, and there were a few things that he said, and I'm like, man, this guy he was spitting facts. He was very red pill. Like, we weren't even talking about what I was being looked at for.
Right.
And I'm like, it sticks out. It bears itself, and it really is evident that this person is, you know, that is speaking in a red pill way, and they're seeing the world in a red pill way, because there aren't a lot of people that will go along with it and that will see it and accept it.
Yeah, I think that's the core of what red pill is, to be honest with you. Only a few.
Yeah. It's and well, the same with the Black Knight. I mean, it's you know, it's not a comfortable life, and how many people choose comfort over being true to themselves. You know, so many people, because it's easier to be a white knight. I mean, it's easier to be that way. It's easier to do life as the system wants you to have it. You know.
Oh yeah, and I think that's what the white knight clings on to. You know, he doesn't think you should have to. If you follow society, then you won't have to worry about rising out of scorched earth. Society will never become scorched earth. That's all in you guys' mind. You know, he believes that you should help the damsel heal and accept her for who she is and care about her feelings and not really your feelings, you know, but this actually will help you make it in society even more, you know. But like, to me, the Black Knight, he believes that her following him is a form of healing, and his leadership is his way of caring about her feelings, giving the reciprocation of her appreciation. But, you know, once again, like you said, these words that most of them won't follow because, you know, the white knight nevertheless would say back, oh, that's all hogwash. You know, just follow society. Who wants to follow you? Who do you think you are? What do you think you're saying? That's important. You know.
I mean, I think it comes back to every man wants to have somebody follow them, you know. And when you go your own way as a Black Knight, you risk a guaranteed set of followers, you know. Like, as a white knight, you can guarantee maybe your woman, she's gonna follow you. You risk having, you know, society, a few people from society think that you're a good guy. You do by the books, and so you have like a very low return investment out there. You know, you've got a bond or a CD. It's very secure. It's going to get you a little bit of a return. You're going to be safe.
Yeah.
But as a Black Knight, you could have a huge following potentially, you know, but you might not have any, and that's the risk that, you know, that you run. And it comes with the freedom of it, you know.
I would say even the idea of the whole nice guy thing, because, you know, you would say, okay, the popular statement of why nice guys finish last. Well, to me, that is you finish last in this society, given that you're conformed in this society. However, the white knight would try to say, well, that's not the case. If you just kiss enough tail, you can work your way up, and don't be that type of nice guy that finishes last. But I think like the true nice guy is actually the Black Knight, because he chooses not to follow society. He's up for the unpopular truth. But, you know, they don't like it that he won't be their type of nice guy, you know.
Right. It comes back to comfort. You know, it's the classic line, truth is caring. You know, if I don't tell you the truth, then I'm not caring. You know, maybe you're trying to get somebody to stop smoking, and you just say, I don't care, it's fine, do what you want. Truthfully, you feel, hey, I don't want you to do that, you know. And if you withhold the truth from them, you end up hurting them more, but they end up liking you for the interim time, you know. So you're actually not a nice guy, you're actually an enabler, you know. And it's what the white knight is. The white knight's the enabler, because he knows, if I just pander these people, I can maybe rise a few rungs on the social ladder. At least I might not make to the top, but I can at least rise a few, you know.
Right. That's facts. And and that's the never-ending struggle or battle or lifestyle of the white knight. And my thing is, it's like, did you grow up watching the TV show Highlander?
I did not. What was it? What was the premise?
The premise was it was similar to back in the days of the medieval times, but allegedly from out of this world, there you had your mortals and you had your immortals, and the immortals more or less were wreaking havoc upon the earth with their swords, and then you had these mortals who You know, I guess if he was fit enough, he could probably take on an immortal if he knew how to kill an immortal. And the only way you could kill an immortal is by decapitating him. So if somehow a mortal decapitated an immortal, he gained the strength of the immortal. And then, you know, he started getting stronger with every decapitation of every immortal.
What would you apply that to Black Knight, White Knight?
The thing I would say is with that is, well, this society always wants its fountain of youth. So you probably know where I'm going with this probably. So you can live forever, live your best life, but yet this has wreaked all of society, wreaked the ecosystem. You know, it's destroyed the very fabric of humanity, but no one has caught up to that yet. And so you have mere mortals that take the deadly dose of the red pill who now decide that maybe I have a shot at dealing with some of these things. And I think over time, that the mortal actually represents the Black Knight and the immortal represents the White Knight. These people that think they could live forever and keep living their best life, you know, being conformed to society. And the more you take down this unrealistic expectation, the stronger your message becomes, you know. So I believe, like, when I talk about the Black Knight's limitless strength, that's reflective of and I would say the monk as well, you know, those go hand in hand, but it's reflective of your message that has limitless strength versus someone that's a White Knight. The message is only as strong as the society supports it, just as his armor is only as strong as the society supports and builds his armor, you know.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, what I wrote down was the White Knight thought is immortal thought. You know, once again, it's La La Land. It's candy cane living. You know, it sounds great, and it's what everybody else goes along with, and that's why people like you, and that's why you're safe. But if you're a Black Knight, you're saying, hey, the enemy is at the doorstep here. We have a problem. We need to deal with this problem. And that's the unpopular opinion. And it also recognizes mortality. I think I think in every red pill minded person, there is a good grasp of mortality. You know, that's kind of what it feels like to me. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Black Knight, even though he has this limitless strength, he has this sense of humility, kind of similar to the monk, to where even though you feel like you're ageless and you're timeless with your wisdom and things like this, you still have this humility of knowing that you're fragile and that you can be overtaken at any time. But that's actually what is giving you strength, is you having this sense of humility, you know, where as in society, it's all about being arrogant. It's all about boasting and flexing, and you got to stay on top of your game, you know, hence game, you know. And it's like, you know, the Black Knight doesn't think about being on his A game. He's just trying to survive, you know.
That's a good point. It's a really good point. I think you can compare it to, you know, a really good athlete that's been successful for a long time. And I think that what they would say if you were to interview them why they're successful is that they always were fueled by a little bit of fear of being overtaken.
Yes.
Know? Like a guy like Vince Carter, I mean, he's going to play in the NBA for 20 years and he's going to be in his 40s. Like, there had to be a certain element, there's a certain amount of, I'm going to be overtaken by these younger guys. I have to do something. You know, I have to have an edge somehow. You know, it's a face reality way of thinking, which is a red pill. This is red pill. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I got a good example for you as well. Mike Tyson, like he he would literally say before you get in the ring, and I'm not going to quote him word for word, but he was like, before I get in the ring and many days beforehand, I would be nervous. I would think about how this guy is trying to think about how he's going to rip me apart, how he's going to punch me into pieces. I would think in his mind how he thinks in his mind, you know, and I would be so nervous. But then a few days before I get in the ring, I started to notice a few chinks in his armor based on his interviews and things like that. Then by the time I get in the ring, I see that he starts to give me a wink. Once he gives me this wink, once he kind of take his eye off me, I know that he's lost his focus. And then that's when I know I got a hold of him. And then I feel like a god in the ring. No one can touch me.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys that have had long careers and that have been really successful, and they might not be the most cordial guys or the most popular guy. They have a certain amount of perpetual fear that pushes them to greatness, and that pushes them to learn a survival skill. I mean, in a scorched earth situation, there's really no imperative to learn how to, let's just say, how to start a fire, gather food, if you don't have the threat of dying at your doorstep, you know, the threat of getting punched to pieces by your opponent, you know, and that's why the grasping of mortality is so important in the Black Knight reality.
Yes.
In the White Knight's reality, it's because it's not a real thing. It's not a real fear. I'm going to live forever, you know?
See? Yeah, I mean, and then when you get a chance, check out them Highlander clips. You're going to be like, yeah, this ties in. Like this all ties in. Man, it's crazy. But yeah, with every decapitation, the mortal gets stronger. With every immortal, he decapitates. So it's like, you know, the more, I mean, whatever doesn't kill the Black Knight, it just makes him stronger. You know, it just literally like that statement goes. So even with all the shaman language, it's like, okay, all I got to do is swipe at the right time and you're just making me stronger. That's all you're doing with this hate, is making me stronger. That's all it's doing, you know?
Yeah. It's like with anything, the way to deal with fear is to not be afraid. It's to get stronger, right? You know, it's like, that's why it's so important to remind yourself that, because everybody's been nervous. Everybody's been afraid.
Yeah.
Whether it's about their health or about their job or, you know, whatever it is, the only way to deal with it is to not run away from it, but to get better.
Exactly.
You know, and that's the killing of the immortal. That's the killing of, you know, of one more demon there, you know?
Exactly. And, you know, in many ways, I'm like you. I mean, I try to let people know that, to me, the red pill, to me, the ultimate gospel, like the red pill is like the gospel. Like, you know, that's how we're tying in, how these gospels are actually red pill. You know, I'm just letting people, you know, this is where it's at. Like, I mean, for example, you know, Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1, it talks about, and in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying that we will eat our own food and wear our own apparel. Let us be called by your name to take away our reproach. So to me, this means they were talking to the Black Knight. They was them damsels recognized. You know, now we're trying to get right. Yeah, exactly. His power. Yes.
This is his essence. You know, this is that. It's the Samson and Delilah situation there. You know, this is exactly what it is. He had power and she wanted his hair, you know, because that's where his essence was. And that's what a lot of guys don't get. And that's why Mike Tyson, you go back to him, he wouldn't have sex for a long time before a battle or for a fight, because he understood that was what my essence was. I can't just give that up. You know, I can't just give that up and get rid of it. It's because these same women that are saying, hey, let us be called by your name, they want his essence, you know?
Yes. That's the, you know, and that's really, if one wants to think about semen retention, it actually is during sexual intercourse, you know? So it's like, you know, who are you giving this life force to? You know, that's also very important. So, I mean, I could see the importance of someone wearing a condom if you want to, make sure nothing goes further than the condom. But still, that's for another story. But yes, that life force is interesting. And I think even more so as time goes on, those few will recognize that there's something about these other type of men who go about a certain way, but yet they're not the shape-shifting bad boys, and they're not these white knights either. Who are these other guys? We know about these monks now too, so that's alluring to some of them, but a lot of them know, like, a lot of monks, you know, are pretty much unobtainable, you know, but these black knights are similar to monks, but they're just in the field, or maybe they're transitioning into monks, so they probably want to grab hold of these black knights while they're still around, I guess.
It's a good point. I think they are monks. They're just available monks because they can be approached and they're physically in front of people. But the Black Knight knows, hey, I'm just here for a bit. You know, I'm here for now. But like the line is, the only way to win the game is to not play the game. You know, and you only play the game long enough to get out of the game. That's the Black Knight's mantra, because he's trying to get away from that game of having people try to come and take his essence.
Yes, exactly. And that's what it's all coming down to, a lot of that, even in this society. Because to me, hypergamy is not just about money. It is also about power in, yes, like you said, the essence of a man. We hear this term all the time, the essence of a man. The Black Knight essence of a man. Or the monk.
Yeah, I mean, that's why when you look at hypergamy, you see a lot of women that are not, that might be attracted to a guy that doesn't have a lot of social or financial standing, but let's say he is a BMX biker that doesn't make a lot of money, but he is rugged and he is very masculine, and it's a very risky endeavor. There's a certain amount of essence that is powerful in it that makes it alluring, that does feel hypergamy too, you know?
Yes, I agree with that for sure. I mean, they're always looking for that next guy, you know, because it's like, you know, she'll find the guy that has the money, but then realize, well, I got the money, but I'm still, that's not enough. So now it's something else that's going to drive her, you know, to go after the next guy. And then it's just,
yeah, he might be like a nerdy pocket protector CPA that has like millions of dollars, but he doesn't have that essence.
Yeah, and then of course the flip side of this, the juxtaposition is, yes, you still got those typical females who don't want a man's essence, but I think they are scared of a man's essence because they know what his essence is going to do to her, you know, and she wants to not be that. She wants the white knight, you know, basically, when it's all said and done. Woo. So you know, it's a cluster. It's a cluster, like you said.
It's yeah, I was watching I don't know if you know who Survivor Man is,
yeah,
but Les Stroud, and he was married and got divorced in 2008, and I was watching like a short excerpt from a documentary that he made with his wife, his then wife, and some guy just made the offhanded comment like, "Oh, even Survivor Man can't survive a marriage," and Les Stroud's like, "Don't even get me started." And what another commenter said was, you know, women will seek comfort at the end of the day, and that's part of why they won't be okay with the danger of the Black Knight life. It's not a comfortable life. It's not typically a life that's going to be at the spa all the time, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the thing is, to me also, like, the Black Knight is not bound to only one woman nor one way of life, or he just isn't bound to anyone, because he might think it's best to remain single, like Paul mentioned. You know, that's the other thing a lot of people don't think about, you know. So like I said, very, very similar to Monk.
Yeah, and while Paul wasn't, you know, the quintessential monk, he was in the sense that he was single. And like you said, you said, man, I wish everybody was like me, because, you know, to be honest, it's so much easier. You know, it's so much less stressful. I don't have to care about the world. I don't have to care about what's around me. All these physical things, they don't matter anymore. You know, it's like, I'm like, whoa, you know, and that's the Black Knight reality where it's, I'm not controlled by anybody around me because I have no reason to be. You know, that is the single most biggest thing the White Knight forfeits.
Yeah, and I think that's also like even in this clash of the Black Knight and the White Knight realizes that there's really not too many crutches to the Black Knight that the Black Knight isn't already aware of. More or less, he's like, okay, chop my arm off, I can grow that back. Chop my leg off, I can grow that back. But can you grow yours back? You know, can
yeah, can you, do you have a backup here? Can you recover from this? You know, it's like the Black Knight can take a little dismemberment. He can take a few more punches than the White Knight can, you know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
he can
indeed.
be flexible. You know, if he loses his home, he gets shipwrecked like Paul did. You know, it wasn't going to work if he had a number of kids. If he got shipwrecked, you know, it wasn't going to work. He couldn't have done that. He couldn't have been in that situation.
And I also think there's this lack of empathy for a Black Knight because it's like they expect him to like, well, why did you leave the kingdom? Why are you not enjoying the same fortunes as the White Knight? Even though, like you said, they overlook the White Knight too. It's pretty much like he's not there, but they're still trying to point this finger like, yep. And it's like, yo, I mean, you haven't realized the Black Knight had to be alone, what he had to go through by himself. It's like you don't care, you know?
Yep. Yeah, they think he's you know, it's like when you go to somebody's house maybe, and let's say you're like on a diet and they're offering you all this crap that you don't want to eat and you say no. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you want to be respectful and have it, but sometimes you say no, and it's like you're not engaging in all these other things that we are. Like you're no fun. You know, you have a problem. Like you are an ascetic. You know, all these things. And they're not looking at it from a holistic perspective that a lot of those nights out in the wilderness, you're alone, you're cold, you're fearful, you have no one to talk to, you know?
Exactly, man. Mm-hmm. But maybe this also could bring up the idea, like you said, more or less, like maybe there's not that much of a deviation of Black Knight and monk after all. Maybe the Black Knight is a monk in transition, or you know, are just maybe he is a monk that's just wearing Black Knight's armor at this time. You know, there's so many ways you can go with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, like we've said, we've always come back to this. We talked about it. There's so many connections between them. I think the biggest one is the distinction that you drew, which was just the monk is just not in public. The Black Knight is more or less in public.
Yes, you know? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a great, very simple breakdown of what's going on there.
Most definitely. And I think about also in with that said, the whole public aspect of this, Isaiah 3:6, it talks about the men take hold of a man to get a ruler. So, I mean, I would assume, you know, men that are really like, you know, really just coming from, I won't even say the space of red pill. I would say blue pill or purple pill, but they probably know like, we need some leadership, something where we're going up in flames. Like, but we know there's this one guy that's out there in the wilderness that's seen all this before, and he can see our pearls. And we would like to approach this gentleman. You know, we can't reach the monk though. The monk, he's far off in the mountains, but this one guy is wandering the woods with similar wisdom, you know, and we want to get him. We need him. Can we talk to you, sir? We need your help.
All people want a man that has been through the battles. You know, that's what it comes down to. It's like, even if that person has failed, if they have been on the other side of the battles and they've seen what can go wrong in it, that's who they call upon, you know? And I think that's the biggest reminder right there. And that's the reason why even a blue pillar or purple pillar at that time will be like, man, I don't know how to deal with this. Like, is there somebody that else has? You know, that's what they call him, that Black Knight, like you said.
Yes. Oh man. And I guess it's totally up to the Black Knight how he would go about dealing with the situation, you know, and that's the question mark. I don't have the answer for that one, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's all up to how he's feeling at the time, you know. Does it benefit him in any way, and does it line up with his value system? Otherwise, he can just be like, I'm a contract worker. I take the opportunities that I want, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't break down leadership, but to me, there's like 3 types of leadership. Maybe there can be more, but you know, you got domination. You know, you could dominate, you can direct, or you can just lead by example, you know. And of course, to me, directing is not easy because most people emphasize their own sense of direction, and you know, so there's just a lot of misguidance, even from someone who can say they're a good director. They're probably misguided too, but nevertheless, I would think one who knows where they're going, or they got an idea of how to go about, because like you said, sometimes the vision is probably not having a vision, you know. But overall, trust can be so hard to come by in those situations. And I don't think trust is easy for someone that's a Black Knight, because he knows people can quickly turn on him and say goodbye or set him up.
And that's why he is the way he is, you know. He is there's a certain level of, I've been burned by something before, you know, and I take it as a lesson, you know. I'm not bitter about it. It's a lesson.
Yes, most definitely. And a lot of people wonder, like, how is he so resilient? Well, I mean, resilience is an act of enduring some of those things you got burnt by, you know, but people don't get that, you know. Wow.
People are afraid to fail, so they don't.
No. And to me, I guess a female's sexual organ, to me, won't be a guarantee that a man will want to procreate with them in the future, you know, especially like someone that's a Black Knight. And nowadays it seems only possible with someone that's a feminine gender, that's a virgin, who's truly growing up under his wing. And to me, I've noticed this. You probably didn't notice, but there's been an interesting trend of guys adopting young girls, then marrying them when they become adults.
What?
Yeah.
No, I had no idea. That's bizarre.
Yeah, I think just because of Me Too, you know. So I don't know. Maybe that's more of a white knight spin on things. But I say from the Black Knight side of it, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't take a young girl under his wing, but more or less like he would rather, if he's gonna help a damsel, he's gonna wonder, like, I guess her level of disposition, given her age, situation, or in this case, like you would say, more so circumstance and environment, you know.
Or it's going to be, I'm in a position to raise this person, you know. I don't have to tame the person.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit easier, more manageable. I mean, there's going to be some struggles there with you, but it's I don't have to you know, matador or snake charm this thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's going to be just a lot of, somebody is going to want a seed of a Black Knight. You know, I would say there's going to be that certain desperation, you know, and I think it's going to be rare though, because similar to the monk, it's just hard to reach a Black Knight. Like you can't reach them that easily, and you cannot get the best of them that easily either once they come to contact with you, you know.
Yeah, you really have to be selling something great for them to have any type of motivation to give their essence, as we've been saying.
Yes. Well, that's pretty much everything in a nutshell as far as sort of this clash of the white knight and the black knight. I think based on what we've stated, I really think it's no contest.
It shouldn't be, when they actually are fed head to head. I mean, one is skilled, the other is not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when you break it down, that's what you look at for a fight.
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, is the only thing I would say as far as whatever adversity the black knight could deal with from the white knight is more or less still, once again, as we've been saying, whatever society is fueling the white knight. But even then, I mean, the black knight still has this limitless amount of strength, so he'll bounce back and he'll be ready, and he'll know how to really just neutralize the fight next time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's that be able to deal with failure is, I think, a key. It's a cornerstone to the black knight. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and I think this even goes for the bad boys too that try to imitate him. These shapeshifters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of it's the fake version of the black knight.
Exactly.
And they try to play that same card too.
Exactly. But it's like, okay, your true colors have showed, because you have no sense of morality, no sense of direction, and then there's always this evil agenda behind it.
Yeah, there's greed behind it. I mean, there's attention seeking behind it. Ultimately that fuels everything, and that's the black knight's like, I'm here for function. I don't want attention.
Yeah, I would think out in the field, a black knight is not necessarily looking forward to running into another black knight. I think more or less things just happen organically, and if one wants wisdom, and you'll just see that their devotion. I don't know. I think it's something organic as far as how, even in these red pill spaces, as you and I both know about, like you know who's genuine and who's not genuine. You can already tell, based on their attention seeking level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true that in the field they're facing whatever comes their way, and ideally it's a low resistance day, but having the mindset that I could be dealing with a threat, or I could be dealing with somebody that could be an enemy. That's always a possibility, and that's why I stay prepared. That's why I stay ready. That's why I have, I'm equipped and I travel light. I think it's kind of a Zen take on things too. I go with where the water is, and I go with the flow of the water.
Yes, the flow of water. That's major. That is so major. And that's, I think, another thing that would be a clash with the white knight. He doesn't understand you talking about water, flowing with water. Like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, it's like, why should I even worry about that? Shouldn't I just have everything I need?
And I would think that even affects, even if they were fighting, he could be so mesmerized by the movements of a black knight, yet he's puzzled as to how can he go about looking so unorthodox and behaving so unorthodox, but yet his movement mesmerizes. The way he swings his sword, the way he just walks around, he puts circles around the white knight, just mesmerizes the white knight. At the same time, he's puzzled.
Yeah, that's it's I mean, yeah, the black knight is he goes with the flow because he understands that that's how life works, and that I've been through the burdens and I've been through the trials before. And I think that's why black knights are made by their youth, and they're made by how they've been prepared for the future. And they've, it's, I guess you could take the Batman perspective in it, like from the very beginning, he was an orphan, you know, he was dealing with loss. And I think a lot of the time that a white knight's coddled and they don't have a reason to go with the flow and go with the flow of the water, you know, because I should just be able to go as I may, and the path should be there. But the black knight knows I might get capsized and I might be in the water, and the only way for me to actually get to where I'm going is to let it take me and curl up and keep myself protected as I go.
Exactly. Man, I think this sums up everything, you know, and we'll see what happens as time goes on. But this is definitely this has been a great live. I'm pretty much at the end of everything I wanted to talk about with you about this clash. And I guess any closing thoughts about just what we've talked about with the rise, the origins, and the clash of all this?
I think it's the one that really stood out to me was just one knows mortality, the other one knows immortality, and that really sums it up there. Why am I going to be hard-edged and looking out to survive and look for self-preservation if I think I'm going to live forever? You're not, you know, and that's the white knight thought.
Man, that's everything in a nutshell. Wow, but yeah, I'm glad that we was able to work this out, and I'm actually glad that we did start this a little earlier. So it just kind of just, I don't know, it's kind of one of those unexpected things, and it's just still gonna go out to the universe the way that it needs to, you know.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I got a good amount of notes written down, so hopefully I'll make a few videos out of it too. So I appreciate your time, and thanks for always hitting me up.
Yeah, no problem, man. We'll definitely we'll see what happens here in the future dates or whatever, you know, you know, looking ahead, you know, we'll definitely have to chop it up if we think of something else. And yeah, feel free to hit me up too if you come up with any ideas, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Likewise. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. All right, everybody, I am back. So Sunrise Hoodie just left the building once again, and I'm still here, y'all. So I just wanted to give my closing thoughts. You know, I pretty much with Sunrise Hoodie, we've talked about a lot of things. Hey, all right, peace out. I am sweet. Good to see you up in the building, and I'm glad that you stopped by. Got a lot more live streams on the way. So I might even do a sequel to some of my previous live streams that I've done to the one that I did yesterday about game versus love. So that's a side note for y'all. I might work on a sequel to that, so keep that in mind. But yeah, good to see you. I'm sweet, and see you around again. But yeah, I mean, my closing thoughts, y'all, is more or less that this whole idea of the Black Knight is real. And it's been around, but it hasn't truly formulated. But you know, with every armor, it takes time to formulate it. It takes time to forge it. Now, of course, I've done videos about manipulation. So to me, forging is a form of manipulation. So think about the Black Knight's armor as to how it was forged, as to how it was manipulated. So that means someone that represents the Black Knight, they've had to go through a lot of manipulations in life. So over time, this forges this armor. Some people say you develop tough skin. Well, the Black Knight takes that a step further. He just gets stronger armor, you know? And of course, if you rely on scripture like yours truly does here and there, you'll know where it talks about wearing the full armor, you know, wearing the full armor of the Creator. So a lot of this has a lot to do with sort of the mindsets of the Black Knight, you know. So but pretty much I've said all that I needed to say. If anybody got any questions about this idea of the Black Knight, let me know. But I think I'm about to just close out here. So as usual, y'all can ask me any questions while I do my closing statements. But yeah, nevertheless, hopefully this live made sense to some. Maybe this live did not make sense to others, but to the others that this live made sense to, feel free to hit that like button, especially those listening to this on the replay. If this is your first time at this channel and you happen to like my type of content, and as well as my live streams, if you like my live streams, feel free to subscribe. Share this live. If you want to reach me, go in my About section. I got different platforms that I'm on. You know, I also got other links if you want to check them out. Just go in my About section. And just keep in mind, y'all, that no matter what it looks like out there, it's only going to get better from here. Much love to y'all. More live streams on the way. Yes, more live streams on the way. Got a lot on the way. Man, I got so much on the way. But yeah, until next time, signing out.